Okay, welcome back. Before we move on to the roto aspect, let's touch a little bit on this copycat node. All right, there are some nuances, some pitfalls with it, and I want to explain to you what they are right now. Let's bring in our 60K, all right, our 60K large cat file. We are in the 60K large cat file. 60K, there we go, open. Making sure this is the one. And it is. All right, cool. It's not blurry. All right, so here's the thing. Let's suppose we're going to go, let's pretend that we go to frame 64 or 46 here. All right, or even 50. Let's go to 50. All right, so 50, I'm looking at this and thinking that actually needs to be a lot less blurrier than it actually is. All right, yes, everything's blurry. You know, she's out of focus, motion blur and all, but not nearly as much as this is. And I know there's detail there. And the only reason why it's doing that is because during my data sets of things, okay, when I was creating all these data sets, I was actually adding, you know, the blur into it, okay, trying to get it to match and think, oh yeah, I can get it in there. And as I go, I'm adding blur to it, which is fine if it works. But unfortunately, if something goes amiss, like if you're on a frame that you didn't do a data set to, and it doesn't look like what it's supposed to, like here, okay, frame 36, I didn't do a data set for that, but look at this. This has gone really mushy, all right, when I know there's actual information in there. So in production, what I would have done is I would have done my data sets without any blur or anything like that on there, so that my data set would always remain sharp, okay? So no matter what, that will always be sharp. I do my solve like normal. I'd probably use the 60K large, okay, if I had done that. I'd render it out, you know, with the 60K large, and it would have, you know, instead of being blurry like it is now, it would be sharp. And then I would use a roto mask or track mask to cut it out and put that back onto my character. And so I could control the blur and position in the comp a little easier. So if there's any drift, if any one of these, my data sets, let's say that I actually move that a little further left or right, and when it solved, it looked like it was floating, I could actually tweak it in my comp without having to go all the way back to my data set. Because if I recall, 60 large that I did here, that took nearly 7 hours to solve. So I don't want to have to go back and redo that. So again, that is one of the caveats to the copycat node. I would not use this as final out. Use it like an asset, as a pre-comp, and steal from it what you want. And don't put any blurs or anything like that into it unless you have to. So that's my thoughts with the copycat and its pitfalls. So let's go ahead and move on to the rotoing, which is really what a lot of people are using copycat for.